record. I'm here for the second part right now. I'm going to start by looking at rate of change and then working my way down towards that end behavior. So rate of change is just simply the same thing as slope, which is the same thing as rise over run. And what you're going to notice in this case is that we have really two sections of this graph. We have this positive section, positive slope, and then we have this negative slope that's over here. Now, the cool thing about it is the slope is increasing at the same, just the opposite value as it is decreasing. So all we have to do is to find the slope of one side. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and start charting it out. Now the slope, we could say starts here. And if you remember slope, we look for steps. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say over 2, up 1, 2, over 2, up 1, 2, over 2, up 1, 2, over 2, up 1, 2. So I'm like, well, the rise is 2 every time. The run is 2 every time. So I just make that rise is 2, run is 2. That means the slope is 2 over 2, which is m equals to 1. So that would mean that the rate of change, m equals to positive 1 or m equals to negative 1. And check it out. You can see that because it's increasing on this side, it is decreasing on that side. We'll go ahead and move on to where it says intervals of increase. And once again, we come back to that vertex that's right there, and we draw on that axis of symmetry that's really easy to see. And what we're going to do is we draw that in right there. And remember, that is at x equals -2. We're going to say, well, interval of increase. Well, if we just pay attention to the fact that from here on out, it is going up, I'm going to say, well, the interval of increase starts here at x equals -2, which is included. And then as we work out the x values, this graph just keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up and up, and it's increasing. So as we go this way towards infinity, this graph just keeps going up. So I'm going to say -2 to infinity, close. So remember, that is included. And this is not included. Go off the screen, okay? That would be increase. So I just write -2 comma infinity. And then I just look at intervals of decrease, which is the opposite of what's happening. Check it out. We're going down this way until we get to -2. So at -2, it is stopping, right? And then at -infinity, it is decreasing. So from out here, as we go this way, this graph is decreasing from -infinity, or I'm sorry, from positive infinity. Nope, making a mistake, I'm sorry. As the x, as we come out here on -infinity, we are decreasing until we get to this value of -2 on the x-axis. And -infinity on the x-axis, -2 on the x-axis, and I'm going to make sure that I use a non-included symbol right there. And then we've got positive and negative intervals. Well, those are exactly the same because in this case, I'm sorry, so positive and negative intervals, okay? We just have to look for positive parts of the graph and negative parts of the graph, okay? So really nice and easy, okay? So I come over here and I say, well, what are those positive intervals? Okay, well, it's positive from here out. That's all positive graph. From here, this is all positive graph, okay? But once we get here, this is all negative graph. So that's all negative graph. And the reason why is because it's either above the x-axis or below the x-axis. And so if I want positive intervals, all I have to do is pay attention to where it's coming from. So from here to here, it looks like 8. From here, it looks like about 4, right? So -5, -6, -7, -8, okay? And then I say, well, it's positive. It's positive from -infinity to -8, okay? Okay, or from 4 until infinity. Okay. Now we look at the negative intervals, okay, and I say, okay, well, let's go to the negative intervals. Well, that's from here to here. It's negative from right there to right there. So I'm going to write -8. Oops, my 8 looks like an infinity. -8 to 4. Okay, and those are going to be the negative intervals because it's below the x-axis. Okay, and the last one, which is probably the hardest one, is the end behavior. And what that just means is what's happening into the end of this graph. Is it increasing, decreasing, and where's it going to? This is all we write for that. As x, so I'm going to write it from the axis of symmetry. If I go right through the axis of symmetry, right there, as x approaches infinity, so as we go this way towards infinity, okay, f of x is going up or towards infinity. That's how we would write that. So all that means is as we go to the right, the graph goes to infinity, right? And then we can also say, well, on the opposite side of that is as we go left, so as x goes to negative infinity, the graph, f of x, that's all that means is the graph goes to infinity because it is also going up, and that is your end behavior. I hope that helps with the next section.